Pictures up, quiet please.
Parker? What's on your mind?
I've thought about this all night. Whether what I'm about to do is the right thing or not.
Let me go in and talk to him alone, Dr. Mallory.
I did so only because he was working along lines contrary to the good of mankind.
Well, Rangers, looks as though Agents McKenzie and Hopkins are going to have to get to that hacienda and get there mighty fast.
You crushed all opposition and made me the most powerful man in the world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Good Movie Hunting, the podcast where we discuss actors and actresses, their best movies, worst movies, and our favorite. And today, I have on a guest. Instead of Kara being my co-host, today I have my lovely husband here with me, Danny. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Pretty hot outside.
Yeah, at least we had that beautiful thunderstorm and all those cool clouds rolling in, that hopefully cooler weather for this week. It's been unbearable lately.
Yeah, it's been terrible.
We just live in the armpit of Texas, so we just never have a reprieve.
Yep, 24/7 swamp ass.
You said it. We said it here first on Good Movie Hunting, the podcast where we discuss swamp ass.
What do I call it? I call it what? Mother Nature's menstrual cycle is right around here.
Okay.
It's terrible.
We might have to cut that. That's gross.
I'm not cutting shit.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You're in charge of the editing, so you get to just leave in whatever you want.
Yep, you folks are in for a treat today.
Yeah, in advance, I'm going to apologize on behalf of Mr. Daniel here.
Yeah. I'm a little
intense.
Yeah. All right, anyway, who are we talking about? Who are we talking about?
All right. Today, I am covering the very famous actress, Jamie Lee Curtis. Before we get started, though, we like to give our plugs here in the beginning. You know, sometimes people don't have the opportunity to listen all the way to the end, and that we totally understand that. Everybody's got busy lives, so we're going to go ahead and plug everything here in the beginning. We have a Facebook page at Good Movie Hunting or at GMH Podcast. We have a Twitter at GMH Pod. We have an Instagram at GMH Podcast. Our email is goodmoviehuntingpod@gmail.com. Our YouTube is Good Movie Hunting Podcast. And again, thank you all for your feedback and support so far. If you have any more suggestions for the podcast in the future, you can reach out to us on any of the before-mentioned socials. So yeah, we'll jump right in here. We're talking about Miss Jamie Lee Curtis today. Jamie Lee Curtis was born November 22nd, 1958.
Damn.
Yeah, that makes her, I did look it up, so I didn't scramble this time. She is 63 years old.
Oh, for Kara, she needs to know, what's her sign?
Yes, I put it in here.
Okay.
That's going to be a running thing, because I'd like
apparently
to know.
So. Him and Willem Dafoe, apparently.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I didn't have a way to naturally insert, that comment in this episode, but it may arise. We'll see.
Depending on how I feel.
Yeah.
Wait, it may arise? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So, Jamie Lee Curtis, November 22nd. That makes her a Sagittarius.
What?
Yeah, and
she's a good old Saggy?
I want to say that's what Brad Pitt was. Let's see.
Yeah, gander in your notes. Figure out what Mr. Pitt was.
No, because it wasn't in my note. He's also Sagittarius.
He is?
What? We got a little Sagittarius.
She's got to be a little older than him, though, right?
Yes. It's not based on your year, just
I know that, but
where in the year. Yeah, but she's a Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is in my chart. I believe it's my rising sign, and from what I understand, they're pretty, down-to-earth people, You can vouch for that. I'm so down-to-earth, right?
No.
You're not even going to try and pretend?
No, I'm not pretending. I'm not going to lie to these people. No, that's a lie. She's pretty. She's okay.
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So she was born in Santa Monica, California, to parents Tony Curtis and Janet Lee. I definitely see her being from California. She seems like
Yeah.
a Cali girl.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
got that vibe to her. Both of her parents were actors, actually.
What?
Both of them. Her father was in a lot of films, but they're older films, not ones that I'm really familiar with. But interesting
She was
enough,
born in what, 57? They're probably like silent films or something.
58. Yeah, well, they weren't silent films. Jeez, it's not that bad. No, but they were like black and white films and stuff. And one of them that they said sounded familiar, but I haven't seen anything, so I can't vouch for it. But interesting enough, her mother actually starred in a lot of older horror films. So Jamie Lee followed in her footsteps. And we'll talk about that later on. But her father was of Jewish descent and also came from Hungarian immigrants. And on her mother's side, she has Danish, German, and Scots-Irish heritage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of everything. And it's cool because she's, a bit Hungarian, and I have Hungarian in my family.
I can see her being, especially
So
now that
that's
she's
cool.
older, I can tell.
You can tell. Okay.
She has that thing that Papa has.
I don't think that's Hungarian specific. I think it's just old person specific. You got the little, the turkey
The underneath.
that hangs
Yeah.
under your neck. The people cannot see
You know
us
what it looks
grabbing
like,
our
guys.
throats.
You know exactly what it looks like. We're not going to talk about it here.
No.
It's got the bumps on it and everything. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. She has one older sister named Kelly Curtis and 4 half-siblings from her father's other marriages after her parents split up. He had Alexandra Allegra Curtis, which, if I'm being honest, I think that's a terrible name. Allegra? Why would you do that to your
I
kid?
don't know. Maybe they have allergies.
No. You're like, oh my God, this kid has so many allergies. What are we going to name it? It has to be Allegra.
Allegra Claritin.
D. Okay, Benjamin and Nicholas Curtis as well. She came from very wealthy upbringing, which does not really surprise me either. She has that air about her.
they
I
were
think.
actors, so.
Yeah, that's true. But she did, in conjunction with her high school education, she also attended a lot of college preparation schools. I think it listed 2 or 3 different schools that she did while she was going to high school, just things that just were making her extra smart, so she could be ready for college, which did not end up helping her much because she went to the same school as her mother, the University of the Pacific, and studied law, actually, of all things. I would not have guessed that. But she actually dropped out after the first semester so that she could be an actress. So, yeah, all that college preparation didn't do much for her. But, and like we said before, she ended up following in her mother's footsteps as far as doing horror films. And her first movie was Halloween. That was
John Carpenter's Halloween. You gotta,
excuse me.
You gotta speak of the man, the myth, the legend.
I'm sorry. I've got to let everyone know that I only watched the Halloween movies here recently.
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen all of them. I got to see the first one, and we saw
the
that.
second one. Watching that one is just, I cracked up.
And then we watched, there was that documentary on Netflix that Barry watched, and we watched it with him. Shout out Barry. I'm sure he'll be a guest.
Eventually.
I'm
going to have to put the mic on the other side of the room.
Yeah, you do not want it anywhere near his face. Everyone's just going to hear anyways, so yeah, the Halloween movie was her first real introduction into the film industry.
She was young too,
she was quite young, yes.
17 or 16 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but she was very young. But because of her subsequent appearances in horror films, she was dubbed the Scream Queen. That was her cute little nickname.
Pappy said that was her name when I dropped Jude off today. He was like, "Oh, the Scream Queen."
Oh, really? Yeah. Fun fact about her: she has written many children's books, like a good handful. I want to say 10 to 15. Yeah, I might have to check them out and get one for Jude or
I don't
something.
know how you can write a joyful book with Michael Myers as your brother, but like, I mean,
hey,
kudos to you.
Balance in all things.
Okay.
She is also a blogger for the Huffington Post. She does seem like she's the type of woman, she likes to do other things. She's not really content with just doing the acting thing. She likes to diversify a little bit.
A lot of actors do that because in case they,
But for her, I feel like this is very interesting. Like, I'm seeing a good variety. Like, it's not all the same type of things. Okay, sorry, I put it farther down in my notes. But yes, she also likes World of Warcraft.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
I cannot see Jamie Lee Curtis, Leroy Jenkinson it through World of Warcraft. There's just no way.
Not only does she love it, she also loves to go to Comic-Con and dress up in a way that she's fully disguised so that people will not recognize her and bother her. She just wants to go and have a good time, dressed as an orc or some shit like that. She should hit up
Henry Cavill. She can.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
They should
Comic-Con like duel it out or something like that.
No, they should open up a Twitch account and like.
Okay, that would be cool.
That'd be like
I'd love that. I think they'd have a good time together.
I think he'd be forget he's an actor and fangirl the whole time.
Yeah, I'm sure. And she also likes One Piece, by the way. I wanted to throw that in there. I can't relate. One Piece, the anime?
I'm such a weeb and my brain is just coming up playing. Oh, Luffy.
Yes,
okay.
The one that I hate so very much.
Yeah.
I can't stand the art style. I'm sorry, all my One Piece fans out there, but I just can't do it. Like it.
Keegan's gonna fly down from Wisconsin and beat that ass.
Makes me cringe inside. Okay, so she married Christopher Guest in December of 1984, and they are still currently married today. Fun fact about that, she actually picked him from a Rolling Stone magazine.
She picked him?
Oh, yes.
Picked him.
She manifested that shit. She was with her friend, and they were gossiping, having girl talk, and she's like, oh my God, this guy is hot, and we're going to get married one day.
Well, I mean, if you see Jamie Lee Curtis in the 80s,
right? Oh, yeah.
If she says jump, you're going to bark. It doesn't matter what's going to happen.
And they did. They got married and they adopted 2 daughters, Annie in 1986 and Ruby in 1996.
You said adopted?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Both adopted. And her one daughter is 1996. And that's the year I was born. So I can just imagine she's my mom.
You're going to manifest it?
I'm going to manifest it. I saw her in a magazine. I was like, that's my new mom.
Sorry, Heidi. Thanks for watching Jude.
Another fun fact. This blew my mind. I almost told you right away as soon as I saw it, but she is Jake Gyllenhaal's godmother.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What about Maggie?
No, fuck Maggie. Oh my God, I said it.
Christian Bale's gonna get you.
Actually, you know what? I've said this before, but I used to hate Jake Gyllenhaal growing up because when I was too little, I saw him in Donnie Darko, and it scared the lights out of me.
That's a great movie.
But yes, as a child, it's not very good for the psyche. I did not have a good time there, but he did grow on me eventually. I did end up, I am a fan of his now.
He made out with Heath Ledger. How do you not like him?
I haven't seen that one.
Really? You see Heath Ledger's pee-pee. Yeah, he jumps off.
We have to rent it tonight.
He jumps off a cliff, and it's all dangling in the wind.
Oh my gosh, blowing in the wind. Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, so we were talking about her husband, Christopher Guest. I'm gonna quote this from Wikipedia, so I don't get it wrong. But her father-in-law was a British hereditary peer. And when he died on April 8th of 1996, her husband succeeded him and became the 5th Baron Hayden Guest. By marriage, she takes on the title Baroness Hayden Guest of Sailing in Essex. So as the wife of a peer, she is styled the Right Honourable the Lady Hayden Guest.
Like Essex, like UK? United Kingdom Essex?
Yes,
oh, man.
She is a Baroness of Sailing in Essex. And I don't know how any of this works, which is why I'm quoting it. But she did say that she rejects the idea of using the title, saying that it has nothing to do with her, which I understand. You know,
Yeah.
it's not even her family, it's her husband's family.
Yeah.
She just kind of like was thrown into it.
Yeah.
She is a recovering narcotics and alcohol addict, and says that recovery has been one of the best of her achievements. She's very proud of herself.
Hear,
and
hear.
we are proud of her too. That's really incredible. When her father died, Tony Curtis, she learned that all of her family had been cut from his will. Every single person, her, all her siblings, everyone did not get a cent from her father.
That sounds
And apparently,
quite familiar later on in this episode.
and apparently he also abandoned her from a young age too. So he just sounded like an all-around dickbag.
Dick.
Mm-hmm. She has won 2 Golden Globe Awards, a British Academy Film Award, and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She is also very good friends with Sigourney Weaver. That's fun. I got to see, pictures of them all buddy-buddy.
Yeah, I
and
saw you
everything.
looking at that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that is all of my fun facts today. We are going to go ahead and jump into the best movie by Miss Jamie Lee Curtis, and it is A Fish Called Wanda.
Oh my God.
From 1988.
I didn't expect this movie. It opened up and I was like, oh great, a cheesy 80s movie, and I just started laughing the whole time.
Yeah,
It
it
was
really
good.
caught us off guard. It received a 96% by critics and an 84% by audience. The movie takes place in London. It involves 4 people, 2 Americans and 2 British, who team up to perform a jewelry heist. Once the diamonds are stolen, they each begin to try and double-cross each other in order to keep the prize for themselves.
Over and over again.
Over and over. It never stops, all the way up to the end. Their plans are interrupted by a barrister played by John Cleese, and they are forced to work their plans around his presence. In order to secure the fortune herself, Jamie Lee Curtis successfully swoons all of the men involved in
Literally
this.
all of them.
Literally every single one of them. Any lips that she saw
She
that were
kissed.
open, she kissed them.
Immediately.
She was all up on those dudes. All
Yeah.
of them.
That didn't matter their age either.
No.
She didn't give a hoot.
Yeah, and one of the guys, she's pretending that they're brother and sister, and she's still macking on him. Like, she does not care.
He was something else.
No, but remember, there's that scene where they're in private too, and she says
Oh
something
my God!
like,
Yeah, she's like, even if you were my brother, I'd still want to fuck you.
yeah, and then they just start vigorously making out, and it's like, okay, like
He keeps talking, saying different cheeses in Italian to her, and she's getting all frisky about it.
She just cannot handle herself when someone starts speaking in a different language.
Yeah.
She just is like a puddle on the floor.
Yeah, muck it in a bop, scratch that, reverse it.
She ends up swooning all of the men that she works with, and ends up escaping with the treasure, and the most unlikely of all the partners, the barrister, who was assigned to the case of the stolen jewels. They end up absconding together.
There was a lot more to that movie.
Yeah, I'm keeping it light and breezy today.
I mean, there's a lot of funny things in that movie that we should address.
Okay, well, you're the one with a good memory, so you're gonna have
I'm the
to...
one with the good memory.
So you're gonna have
Okay,
to
well,
refresh me.
Otto, the one who plays her brother lover, there's one scene, he's kind of interrogating this man that stutters. He's kind of like an accomplice,
Yeah,
but
he's one of them.
he's one of them, yeah. And he's interrogating him. He has French fries, keeps calling them chips because, London. And he has French fries in his nose and then shoves an apple in his mouth, and the dude starts to suffocate. But anyway, the dude really likes fish. He has a little aquarium and whatnot.
He's just an animal lover in general.
Yeah,
but
he
yes,
loves
he
all
loves
animals.
His fish.
So the guy Otto, he was like, "What do you guys have that goes with chips real well?" "Oh, fish!" And he proceeds to start taking this man's fish out of the fish tank and eating them slurping them up. One of the fish being Wanda.
Yep, a fish called Wanda, which you would think that would be a bigger part of the story, but it really
isn't.
was not at all.
It was just little fish that it looked like an angelfish kind of, but
Like what's his name, Gil from Finding Nemo.
Sure.
He's an angelfish
Is he?
with a scar. It's voiced by Willem Dafoe, actually.
It is.
We
Shout
were
out Willem
how we would get to
Dafoe.
shout him out, Mr. Willem Dafoe and his little angelfish dick.
Little. He has to drag that thing up behind him. He has to
Okay,
tie
but
it
when
to
you're
his
an
leg.
angelfish,
So what? Angels can't have massive weens?
on the scale of fish and human.
I guess.
And I was going to mention this at the end because I thought it was a very cool fact. But since you mentioned that scene with the chips up the nose, I'm going to have to say it. But when this movie was released in Denmark, a Danish man found the scene with the french fries up the nose so funny that he literally laughed himself to death.
No
He
shot.
laughed so fucking hard
He
he
fucking
died.
died?
He straight up died.
I'm sorry for laughing. That's fucking
I know.
nuts.
R.I.P. I think it's
Mr.
Ole
Danish.
Ole Benson.
Ole?
Ole. It's O-L-E. I'm not gonna call him Ole Benson. Actually, that might be right.
That
That does sound kind of good. Okay. But yeah, rest in peace, Ole Benson. We're very sorry
God.
about your death, but at least you died happy. Literally, you were so happy that you died.
I'd be okay with that being the last movie scene I ever saw in my life.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
pretty...
that's a good way to go. Yeah, but Jamie Lee Curtis is very spicy in this movie.
Super.
And
She changed outfits every 5 seconds.
if I had $1 for every time she had a costume change, I would have been very happy by the end of the movie. Probably would have ordered some pizza or something. for
Yeah, we
dinner.
would have got $50 out of it.
Yeah, probably. There were a lot of
Yeah.
costume changes, but every single outfit was like, very fitting to her figure. She looked bomb in this movie.
Yeah, it's a little older movie, but like definitely it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it. It's pretty funny.
So it is a British film, but meant to blend like American and British humor
And it had
together.
a lot of good, like, famous British actors.
Yes.
it too.
Speaking of British actors, John Cleese, who plays Archie, the barrister that
Yep.
she ends up escaping with, he is one of the more notable on the film. I think probably him and Jamie Lee Curtis are the big two in this movie. But he actually was really known for doing the Monty Python movies.
Yeah.
And very famous for that. But actually, John Cleese says that this is his favorite film that he's done.
Really?
A Fish Called Wanda. He loved doing it. And I almost
mean,
wonder if it's because he
he-
got to mac all over
yeah,
Jamie Lee
that-
Curtis. That probably was the highlight of the film, I'm sure. So speaking of Jamie Lee Curtis and her spiciness, there is that bedroom scene where her and Otto are,
The cheese.
doing the hanky panky,
Yeah, with the
and
cheese.
she's got her legs straight up in the air, and you're
Straight up
just
in the
wondering
air.
what are the freaking physics of this, and he's jumping all around on the mattress, and
Like, yeah,
there's no connection there. The way he's moving,
There's just no...
way anything's happening here. But in this film, Jamie Lee Curtis said that she had to cover her face with a pillow because she was laughing so hard.
that was all him.
She kept ruining the scene because she'd look up and see him making all these crazy faces,
Yeah.
and she just could not keep
And
it
at the
contained.
end of their little hoo-ha dance, he does this, like, his eyes cross and
yeah,
stuff.
he's
like
gone from
cutscene.
this world. So, talking about John Cleese as well, when he found out that Jamie Lee Curtis's father's real name was not Tony Curtis, which he went by in the film industry, his real name was actually Bernard Schwartz. He thought that was just so amusing that he almost decided to play a joke on her and put her name in the credits as Jamie Lee Schwartz instead of Jamie
lost
Lee
her
Curtis.
mind.
But yeah, I'm glad he didn't, because considering the tumultuous relationship between her and her father, I think that would have gone over poorly.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is the movie. That is A Fish Called Wanda. And now we are going to move on to the worst movie, which is Christmas with the Cranks.
And I don't see how it's like the worst movie.
I don't know how it got that low of a rating. I mean, it's not good, but
it
it's
has
not
the King of Christmas
that bad.
himself. is in the movie. Like,
I know, and that's the thing. It has
Tim
good.
Allen.
It has Tim Allen. It has
Cheech.
Jamie Lee Curtis. It has.
Cheech and Chong. Cheech is one of the cops.
Yeah, he is. You're right. Mhm.
Yeah.
And it has Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
He's
And it has Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle.
His name's Frohmeyer.
But
Vic
you
Frohmeyer.
didn't watch Malcolm in the Middle, probably. But it has Dewey, the youngest brother. He's
Yeah,
the
he
one-
plays the little kid that helps. I know of the characters,
and
but I haven't seen it.
Frosty. Frosty's 100% in that movie. He
Yes,
takes
he
a
is.
fall.
He's
but-
actually on several people's roofs at the end when it like
Yeah.
zooms out. You can see like several people. It's almost like a cultish thing, like that all these people in the neighborhood have this Frosty like looming over them on their freaking
yeah, it's
roofs. Like it's a little creepy.
Santa Claus has a punch buggy.
So yes, this movie got a. It was released in 2004. It received a 5% by critics and 38% by audience.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it's really. And I had seen it before, and it was not
We watched
that
it last
bad.
year.
It's not something that you love, and you're like, oh, that's my favorite Christmas movie. But it's
But
fine.
looking
Like
at
it's
it,
something
when it
you
comes
turn
to-
on when you're busy decorating the house or something.
When it comes to
shit like that.
Jamie Lee Curtis, like I could, thinking about it, I could kind of see how it's one of her worst movies.
Yeah,
I think with her best scene in that whole movie is with the ham. That's got to be the best.
Oh.
Her like.
I thought you were gonna say it's when she goes to get her spray tan and she comes out because she freaking hit her head on the tanning booth, like the lid of it, and like splits her head open and she comes out.
Tim Allen's Donald Trump orange.
Yes, he looks like he got a spray tan. Like Jamie Lee Curtis, she's in the bed, you know, getting like the UV tan or whatever, but it looks like he went in and got sprayed down, and it's not a good look
behind
for him.
scenes, definitely just got spray tanned.
Yeah, I'm sure. So yes, we're gonna give a little synopsis of this movie. When parents, who are played by Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis, I failed to put their movie names in here, but we'll just roll with it.
Yeah.
Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis find themselves alone on Christmas. While their daughter is in Peru, they decide to skip Christmas and go on a cruise instead.
But mind you, the whole neighborhood relies, like the whole street relies on the Cranks being there for Christmas. Like it's a very a routine thing.
It's tradition, yeah.
Yes.
And they're very upset. They cannot believe, and all the people that the Cranks, support during Christmas time. Like there's that scene where that guy who has like the stationery store or whatever, he's like, you're not gonna get your Christmas cards printed with us, and he's like, every year you come to us and you get this huge order of Christmas cards, and what are we gonna do, and all this stuff, like it's.
Where did they want to go on vacation? Hawaii? Was it Hawaii?
No, I want to say it was Bahamas.
I think it's the Bahamas
or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Somewhere warm.
Yes.
And us being from Texas, I'm telling you, just don't do that. Go north.
No. Yeah, go on an Alaskan cruise.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do.
Stay as far away from the heat as you can.
So the whole neighborhood is in an uproar and constantly harasses them about going on this cruise because it's not part of the tradition. It's not what's done there in the neighborhood. But the daughter, Blair, ends up coming home early.
Blair.
And Gossip Girl, XOXO.
Wait, that's not her. It's not Blake.
No, the other girl. The brown hair girl. Her name's Blair.
It is Blair.
Yes.
I should
Blair
know.
Waldorf. You should know. You should.
I watched Gossip Girl. I'll
Yes,
admit
exactly. So you
I'll
should
admit
know.
it. I'll admit it.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you want to know who Gossip Girl is? I can't tell you.
I know who it is.
But you never watched.
It's Joe.
Well, his name is Dan in Gossip Girl, but
So
yeah,
you
it is
related. You're like, oh, Dan.
Joe. No,
I'm
because I
Dan
remember I was
too."
shook. I was like, no way.
Yeah. I never watched it all the way through. I started it, but then someone spoiled it. For
I
me
just
and told
watched
me,
it
and I
because
was like,
Blake Lively.
yeah, she's real nice. Her and her husband are freaking.
Yeah, if they were in my presence, you'd probably need to scoop me off the floor.
But yes, their daughter Blair ends up coming home early, and the neighborhood decides to help the Cranks set up this Christmas party.
Yeah, her parents didn't like Jamie Lee Curtis and Tim Allen didn't want her to know that they weren't doing it.
Yeah, they had never let her know that they were going on a cruise.
Yeah.
Like it was
'Cause
shameful or something.
she would have been really upset with them.
Yeah, even though she wasn't there, which is, I guess,
But
probably
she was
one of the.
there.
Yes, but she wasn't going to
She
be
wasn't
there.
supposed to
I'm
be.
saying that's probably one of the flaws of the movie is that why does it freaking matter if the
Yeah.
Cranks went on a cruise because Blair wasn't even going
Yeah,
to be
and
there.
their little freaking cookie cutter neighborhood. It's not your business what your neighbor wants to do.
Yeah, it's not like your whole Christmas is going to fall apart just because, Susie Q next door
Yeah.
is not there for Christmas. Like, they're not part of your family or anything. And I did learn that the film is actually based on John Grisham's novel Skipping Christmas, but they didn't want to do the same name or a similar name because there was a movie that came out that was called Surviving Christmas and it had Ben Affleck in it. They didn't want to go too close, so somehow it got a completely different name, Christmas with the Cranks. They were just like, oh, go simple.
Fuck it.
It's Christmas and it's
Yeah.
the Cranks. And this is actually Tim Allen's first time in a Christmas movie where he didn't play Santa.
Yeah.
He is known for when he's in a Christmas movie, he plays Santa.
He's
That's his
Santa.
thing.
He's Santa Claus.
And it's very ironic because he plays kind of like a Scrooge in this movie.
Yeah. I heard a clatter.
A clatter. And there's a scene where he shows up at his office and he's gleefully handing out all these flyers that he typed up to all of his coworkers saying,
I'm not going to be here.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
I'm not
and
going
then-
to
yeah.
give gifts. I'm not going to receive gifts. I don't want to hear anything about Christmas. And everyone takes it so personally.
As he's handing him out and people are reading it and he's still walking, the camera's following him, to keep the story going and gives you that illusion. But as he's handing it out and you see the extras in the back reading it and they're slowly looking up at him like, what the hell's going on?
They're like, he's lost
there's
it.
flying pigs.
What's happening? And there's actually a couple of Ghostbusters references in
Yeah, well, Dan
the
Aykroyd's
film.
in it.
I know. I feel like they just kind of had to.
You have no choice.
There's a scene where for some reason I love his name in that film. His name's Vic Frohmeyer. I just think that's such a cool
He
name.
sounds like a bully.
Yeah, well, he is a bully in the movie. He
kinda
harasses
is.
them, and he wants the Frosty so bad.
Frosty's looming in the basement.
He's like, get Frosty out of the basement and put him on the damn roof. He's freaking out, and he's outside the window harassing them. And Tim Allen, I think it's Tim Allen, does this little thing where he kind of turns towards the camera, and he's like, well, who's he going to call? Who's he gonna, tell on as to, about
I feel
the
like
freaking
if
Frosty.
I feel like if Dan Aykroyd's in a movie, you have to have a Ghostbusters reference and or Coneheads
Absolutely.
reference.
Oh God, Coneheads. Now I have to look up what the ratings are for that because that was
That's a funny movie.
that was something. And one little fun fact, there wasn't too much on this movie, because like I said, it just really was unremarkable. I don't think it's bad per se, but it's not good either.
I
So
saw
there's
it in the
not
movie
really.
theater when it came out.
Really?
Yeah.
That is not worth the
I was in 6th grade. I went on a double date.
$6 or whatever it costs.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Young love. So sweet.
Yeah, cool. I think her name was Melissa. Shout out, Melissa.
Shout out Melissa. The Melissa I know?
No.
Oh, I was
No.
about to say.
No.
Might have
That's
to
a
have
whole
a
lot of
discussion.
woman. I couldn't.
But yeah, just the last thing is that there's this fun little scene that I got to see that they should have clipped out. They should have taken it out of the movie, but they just apparently didn't really care enough. But there's a scene where they're trying to, I think Tim Allen's trying to put the Frosty on the roof or something like that.
That's a good one.
And he ends up falling off the roof.
Yes.
But the rope wraps around his leg, and so
Yep.
he's dangling, off the side of the house. And so they call firefighters to come rescue him, get him down. And the fire truck pulls up and stuff, and the firefighters are getting out and they're going to help him. And one of the firefighters has the ladder, and he's taking it down off the fire truck, and he goes to swing it around, and he hits one of the other firefighters in the face with it.
Oh,
You
shit.
see it clear as day, in the background. He just freaking knocks him with the in the head with the ladder, and I was like, why would you leave that in there? But
That's pretty funny.
I'm glad they did. He was good. Gave me
Wait, I
something
think
to
I
talk about.
remember that. I'm gonna have to watch that after
Yeah,
this.
I'll show
that
you. I
clip.
watched the clip when I was doing my notes. But yeah, that is the movie Christmas with the Cranks.
Later, when we have video for our video podcast, later on in our career here, I'll be able to add clips like that for you guys.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know how it works as far as copywriting, but
Well, I can't include sound, visual. You can't copyright visual, just sound.
that's not entirely true. But okay.
Whatever. I'll email Pimp.
All right, and now we are going to cover the favorite film, which is Knives Out.
Which is your favorite film of Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's my favorite. Knives Out came out in 2019. It received a 97% by critics and 92% by audience. So pretty high scores all around. Everyone seemed to like that one a lot. And this one, there's a little, I guess you'd say, a caveat on this film, but...
I'm sorry. What does that mean?
A caveat?
Yeah, what's a caveat?
Here, I'll give you an official...
An OG Deafy?
Yeah, OG Deafy. It is a warning or proviso of specific stipulations, conditions, or limitations.
You hear that, crickets?
Yeah, you're just giving me this look like that did not help
Didn't
at all.
answer my question. You can't give me a definition of a word with a definition full of more words I have to look up.
So it's like saying beforehand, it's a warning that there are certain like conditions or limitations to what you're about to say. So what I'm saying is that there's a caveat about this being my favorite Jamie Lee Curtis film. It's because she's not actually the star of this film.
Yeah, no, she's
that's
not.
my warning I'm giving, is that there is a condition on this.
She's there.
The movie is
But-
technically starring Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas.
If you don't know who Daniel Craig is, he's the new 007. James Bond.
Our latest James Bond. But it is actually, when you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it's still rated as Jamie Lee Curtis's best film on there. And so I thought this would be good because it is my favorite film that she does, and it's also
What
her
about A
best
Fish
rated.
Called Wanda then?
It wasn't that high. It was close, but not.
So you took this film and slotted it as your favorite and went to like the second.
Yes.
Okay.
Because she was not the star. I didn't feel right putting it as her best
It's
because
different
it wasn't
if it's
her
your
best starring
favorites,
film.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, on A Fish Called Wanda, the scores were 96% critics, 84 audience. So it was just a point behind on the critics scale, Fish Called Wanda, so it's close enough.
Yeah.
So I figured, what the hell, I'll go ahead and include it because why not? It's my freaking podcast. I get to do stuff
Fuck
like
it.
that.
I don't care.
All right. The movie is about a detective played by Daniel Craig who is investigating the death of a very eccentric and wealthy man who has a very complicated and ornery family. I'm throwing that word in there because it's Savannah's favorite word.
What?
Ornery. He has an ornery family.
Okay.
That means they're difficult. Like
Yeah.
they're just hard to deal with.
They are
Savannah
out of
used to
control.
call people ornery all the time, but I feel like she used to say like honery, like there was no R in there. And so when I was doing my notes, I typed in ONERY, and it like immediately flagged it, and I was like, I know that's a word. And I looked it up, and they're like, bitch, there's a R in there. Stupid. So, yes, he has a very ornery family. Ana de Armas plays the patriarch's nurse and caregiver who, by the end of his days, she was his closest friend because his family was just a pain in the ass, and he enjoyed her company more.
They were ruthless.
Yes. And that's what makes it so, like, I think, fun and dynamic. You get to see all these different characters, and they all have different personality types, and it makes you wonder, like,
How the fuck?
Yeah,
like...
But the caregiver, her name is Marta. She ends up being key in solving the death of Mr. Thrombey. By the end of the film, we discover that Thrombey's death was in part technically a suicide, but also in part it was a scheme by his grandson, Ransom, who is played by Chris Evans.
And I will never call him Chris Evans. He will forever and always be Cap.
No, and now
Cap.
he's going to be Ransom.
No, he's Cap. Forever
I
and
know,
always.
yeah,
He's
Cap
and
takes
or
precedence
Buzz
over that.
Lightyear.
Well, we haven't even seen that yet.
It's
so
not even
you
out
can't
yet.
even. Yes, it is.
It-
It was out on Disney Plus. It might have been one of those like premiere things where you have to pay, but it was on Disney
I think
Plus.
you're wrong.
I am almost definitely right.
All right, go ahead. Keep talking. I'll hit the Googs and I'll come back for you in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah. But yes, and I would say Ransom is a terrible name, but because it's played by Chris
Cap.
Evans, because we're talking about a different film, we can't
Doesn't
call
matter.
him Cap in this film.
He's Cap.
Hush.
That is America's ass.
Hush. Oh, man. So, in part, it was a scheme by his grandson, Ransom, played by Chris Evans, to frame Marta, the nurse, played by Ana de Armas, for his death so that he could gain access to the assets left behind by his grandfather. Because originally, everyone was going to be left out of the will.
Yeah.
But there was a caveat. There we go. They're on the back. A caveat in there that if somehow Marta was responsible for Mr. Thrombey's death, then she would forfeit access to the will, and it would be dispersed among the family
Evenly, yeah.
and so that's why Ransom was doing this. But Ransom is found out and sent to jail, and Marta ends up inheriting every single thing, even the house.
And can I just talk about Daniel Craig for a second?
Oh my gosh.
Him in this movie, his accent. I seen him as James Bond, and he always has that like British type of accent, and he comes in here and he sounds like he's straight out of like the woods of fucking Tennessee or Kentucky or something. He has such a southern, Savannah, Georgia.
It's like that.
Hey, what's his name? Beignet.
Beignet.
I keep
Every
saying
time
that.
you do that, it confuses me because it's like it's close, but his name was.
But yeah, his
damn it.
his accent was
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he has one of those accents, and it reminds me of in The Office, when
They're playing that game.
There's been a murder.
A murder
A murder in, I think it's in Savannah.
in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, a murder in Savannah.
Yeah, and at the end of the episode, Pam and I ain't going down for this.
Yeah, they're all holding the finger guns at each other.
Creed dipped hours ago.
Jim comes in. He's like, Pam, it's like 6:30. It's time to go home.
All right, we'll have an Office episode another day. I promise,
God.
guys.
But yes, that it is reminiscent. His accent
Yes, it
definitely
is.
throws you back to that if you're an Office fan.
Yeah, 100%.
And Jamie Lee Curtis is not in this as much, but she still serves just as much as she would, if she was the star in it. She
I'd
still
say
gives that.
total minutes of the whole movie. She's like screen time 20 throughout the whole movie.
Nah, that might be fair.
20,
It's
25.
and which is sad because it's a 2-hour movie.
It is, but
If we
it's
were
really,
being generous, maybe
we
I'd
see
say
a
30
lot
minutes.
of Marta and Blanc and
Yeah.
Cap.
Yes. But yeah, Jamie Lee looks incredible in this movie. The only bad thing is her freaking glasses. I feel like she looks like Where's Waldo or something. She's got these like really thick black rimmed glasses,
Yeah,
and they are
it's
just not doing her
terrible.
any favors.
I think those are actually like her like IRL.
No.
I know she wears glasses.
Yeah, but I don't think those are what she normally wears. But I like that in the beginning of the movie they even mention that the estate that that was Thrombey's is like a clue board.
Yes, quite literally. It
Yeah.
is.
Which is crazy because when I was trying to I was researching the film and everything, and the guy who I think that it was the guy who produced the film, he was saying like, oh no, I didn't take any inspiration from Clue, or I didn't
you.
take any inspiration
You
from
lying sack of
any
potatoes.
of these like mystery things. I'm like, you are a goddamn liar. And he made some like kind of allusion to the fact that he did base some of the film on Star Wars, and I'm like, tell me in which
Where?
shape, way, or
Where?
form there are similarities between
Maybe
the two
Star
movies.
Wars Clue?
I don't
If
know.
there is such a
I
thing.
don't know. It's funny because we have that Star Wars puzzle up on the wall, and that's like, I was like, oh, I see it.
It
and I
was
have to mention
Vader
it.
on Mos Eisley with the lightsaber. Like,
Yeah, I think. I mean, the guy did a good movie, but I think from what
No,
I
it
was
was a great
reading
movie,
about him,
but
he
he's
was a little bit
lying.
of kook.
He's lying about that.
And speaking of Daniel Craig and being James Bond, the filming of one of the James Bond movies almost kept him from being in this film. It was
Really?
Yes, it was coming so close to, like, I guess they were overlapping, and that I think they were getting kind of frustrated with him, and they were like, "You need to wrap this
Speaking
shit up
of Daniel
because
Craig,
you have to
know
be
he's in Star
James
Wars.
Bond."
He's in The Force Unleashed,
No.
the first of the new trilogy. He plays a stormtrooper.
That doesn't even count. He has got a freaking helmet on.
But it's him. He there.
God.
So is Sean Penn.
That's a new thing with the freaking Star Wars anything, the new movies and the shows and everything. Like, everybody's got a little piece of it.
Yeah, they want in.
Yeah,
'Cause it's Star
freaking
Wars.
what's his fuck was in it.
What's his fuck? Who's his fuck? What's his
The
fuck?
comedian, what's his name? Bill Burr. Bill
Bill
Burr
Burr.
is in it. Like,
Yeah,
I
I know.
never would have thought Bill Burr. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Bill
He
Burr.
wasn't
but
in Star Wars. He was in Mando, right?
yes, but it's
Wow, 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 wow.
Yes, don't get me started on that. Love me some Mando. Yeah, and then I guess my only other, like, a fun fact about that film is there's a part where, like, the whole family is arguing and everything, and you're just like, oh my god, this is a freaking mess. And Ransom, played by Chris Evans, he's sitting on the couch,
It was the
all
moment-
laid back.
It was the moment the lawyer said to everybody, he said,
Yes.
"You are all getting fuck all. Nothing.
Yeah,
You're getting nothing."
absolutely
But
nothing.
the thing is, Ransom knew about this already.
Yes.
So he was just
So
sitting
he's
there.
just
He
enjoying
came
it.
for the fireworks. So the lawyer says it, and he's looking around at his parents. Jamie Lee Curtis is his mom, and his aunts, uncles, cousins, all like throwing a fit. And he just starts cracking the fuck up, yo.
And he's eating those Biscoff cookies. He's got like the whole sleeve of them, and he's just going to town like it's popcorn or something.
Yeah, they're like freaking out, and he just walks out laughing, laughing.
Yeah, and there was an interview with him or something where he said that scene, like, just because he was really getting into like his character and stuff, he just like destroyed the whole sleeve of those Biscoff, and he's like, the rest of the day my throat just felt like it was like coated in butter. It was ridiculous. And I thought that was so funny. Like, I could just imagine
Did you
watching
know
him just
when-
like scarfing those cookies.
When you're like watching a TV show or movie, and like it's like a food scene that they normally, like, if they fuck up the scene and whatnot, they have to,
they
keep.
have to spit it out, right?
They normally have little food spit bucket, and 90% of the food they're eating is either like ripping hot because they nailed the scene immediately, or it's ice cold. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's funny. It reminds me of, I know this has nothing to do with this, but we watch our like nighttime going to bed show is Bones, with Emily Deschanel and David Boreanaz.
And he's if you know, from like the early 2000s, late 90s, he played Angel in Buffy, and he had his own show.
But we love that one. But every time there's a scene when they're at the diner, Bones is like going to town on her soup and salad combo in her coffee, or I think she gets tea. That's what she does. But she's always slurping away and chewing away. And I'm like, do they ever have those scenes where she does have to spit that stuff out?
Sure.
Or is she just so comfortable eating like in front of the screen that she just doesn't care anymore?
That's a character.
It looks great. I love it. I watch her do that, and I'm like, oh god, I would kill for a soup and salad right now.
I'll watch Emily Deschanel eat all day.
Oh my god.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, and that's really all I have to say on that one. I think that movie, it's definitely one you have to see. Like, it doesn't really, it's hard to explain. There's so much going on in it, you just have to see it.
It's a good one. Honestly, like, up until you find out Cap is the bad guy, Ransom, like, he's probably like the best. Him and Daniel Craig are like the best things in the whole movie. Like, they're pretty funny.
Yeah, I like Daniel Craig okay in it, but he's not my favorite. I think Ransom's my favorite. It's just fun to see all the characters play off of each other, and even, like, a lot of the actors and stuff aren't necessarily that big. Obviously the three more famous ones you have in there is Jamie Lee Curtis, Daniel Craig, and Chris Evans. But I really liked Chris Evans a lot in this. I think
Yeah,
he was probably my favorite of the characters. But I do love. I'd be remiss if I did not mention that in the end. So you find out because there's all these different. Each character has their own drama going on. You know, their interactions with the patriarch. You know, Mr. Thrombey. But the drama going on with Jamie Lee Curtis is that Mr. Thrombey, her dad, finds out that Curtis's husband is cheating on her, and he has like picture evidence and everything. And he confronts him and he says, like, you need to tell her. I know my daughter and she would want to know.
If you don't tell her, I'm going to.
Yes. And he shows him that he has this letter, you know, for his daughter. And he's like, if you don't tell her, I'm going to give this letter to her and she's going to find out. Well, you know, Mr. Thrombey ends up dying.
Dies.
And
later that night.
Yeah, and then the husband goes and he's like, I have to intercept this. I can't let this happen. And so he goes and he opens he like jimmies the desk drawer. He sticks which that does not work in real life. He gets the letter opener and he just jiggles it in the hole.
Depending on how old the desk is.
Yeah, but there's more science to it. You can't just jiggle it around. There's certain mechanisms in the lock that you have to like
Hollywood,
put pressure on and stuff. I know, but it's just funny. He just like, and then, it opens.
How is that? What did you just do?
He opens up the drawer and he gets the letter out, rips it open, and it's blank.
Yeah.
It has like this little drawing of a rose in the top corner, but he's like, this is stupid. Like
fucking loser.
Yeah, he's like, this guy lied to me. Like he just waved around this envelope with empty paper inside, and you know, he's dumb. Like she was not going to find out.
Idiot.
Yeah. And so he's like, whatever. But instead of like
throwing it away.
Throwing it away or getting rid of it somehow, he's like so cocky about it, he just leaves it there. And later on in the film, Jamie Lee ends up finding that letter and she's looking at it and she's out on the porch and she's smoking a cigarette, so she has her lighter with her. And her husband's out like in the yard, and he turns around and he sees her holding the letter. And he watches her as she gets that lighter and she lights it and starts waving it underneath the papers. Yeah. And it's reacting to the heat and all the words, all the ink starts showing up on the paper. And you just see her husband's face and he's like, fuck. Yeah. I totally missed it. And, you know, he gets to see her reaction as she finds out. And whew, that is not a pretty ending for him. She was not happy.
No, she wasn't.
But that is the movie Knives Out. And that concludes our segment today.
But before you wrap it up, you're probably tired of hearing it. But for those of you who finished watching Stranger Things or haven't watched Stranger Things, roll your eyes at me. You know where I'm going. You know exactly where I'm going. Spoilers ahead. I want to give a shout out to Eddie Munson, played by Joseph Quinn. Born May 1993. You're my unholy holiness. I love you. I'm sorry that the Duffer Brothers fucked you. But
we're going to cut it there because we don't want to spoil
I
for
said
all of our
spoilers
lovely
ahead.
fans.
I said spoilers ahead. So if they continue to listen, sorry, not sorry.
Okay.
But shout out Eddie Munson.
Okay. Yes, a very good season, and y'all definitely need to check it out. Eddie was, he took us all by surprise, but we all love him very much. He is dear to the internet's heart. And as we're talking about this, the advertisement for it comes up on the Netflix screen on the TV.
A big old Steve Harrington butt.
Yeah, his butt's like right in the picture.
All right, go ahead, close out.
All right. So this ends it. I do want to let y'all know, give y'all a little heads up that next week, Danny will be our wonderful guest once again. Kara is a bit indisposed.
Yeah, she's a little busy right now, but she'll be back.
That's totally fine. We love to mix it up here on the podcast, and we love to have our editor come in and add a little liveliness.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little wild. But
he's going to have some fun commentary, I'm sure, and especially next week as he covers...
my favorite actor, Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, Mr. Spidey himself.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, so next week we will be doing, or Danny will be doing Andrew Garfield, and
I will not be doing Andrew
I'll
Garfield.
just be laying back and, just relaxing, not lifting a finger to do any work.
Not lifting your tongue.
So we are doing that, and we're going to go ahead and close out the podcast. For any of you who are wanting to follow us on socials, we have a Facebook page at Good Movie Hunting or at GMH Podcast. Our Twitter is at GMH Pod, Instagram at GMH Podcast. Our email is goodmoviehuntingpod@gmail.com. Our YouTube is Good Movie Hunting Podcast. And again, thank you for all of the feedback and support. Thank you for listening and being our lovely little fans. We love y'all, and we hope you tune in next week. Signing off.
Thank you.
Pictures up, quiet, please.
Parker? What's on your mind?
I've thought about this all night. Whether what I'm about to do is the right thing or not.
Let me go in and talk to him alone, Dr. Mallory.
I did so only because he was working along lines contrary to the good of mankind.
Well, Rangers, looks as though Agents Mackenzie and Hopkins are going to have to get to that hacienda and get there mighty fast.
To crush all opposition and make me the most powerful man in the world.